William Morrow and HarperAudio present Into the Gray Zone, a Pike Logan novel by Brad Taylor, performed by Rich Orlow. The Gray Zone describes a set of activities that occur between peace, or cooperation, and war, or armed conflict. A multitude of activities fall into this murky in-between, from nefarious economic activities, influence operations, and cyber attacks, to mercenary operations, assassinations, and disinformation campaigns. While the United States has spent more than 2 decades focused on its conventional power, Russia and China have occupied the gray zone, where they can pressure, coerce, destabilize, and attack the United States and its allies without risking conventional escalation. Clementine G. Starling, Deputy Director of the Forward Defense Practice and a resident fellow in the Transatlantic Security Initiative. One can argue that activities in the gray zone have always been a feature of great power competition. Proxy wars, destabilizing insurgencies, legal warfare, lawfare, and information warfare by adversaries and allies alike have been a feature of conflict for millennia. But the cost of conventional conflict in the nuclear era has grown too steep, and the risk of escalation too profound. As a result, nations seek to promote their national objectives through aggression conducted covertly or with obfuscated attribution or justification in order to achieve their goals. Robert J. Geisler, non-resident senior fellow in Forward Defense, and who served in a number of senior roles within the Office of the Secretary of Defense. Chapter 1. A full moon created a kaleidoscope of reflections on the Arabian Sea, but Kamel could smell the rain coming. It was the tail end of the monsoon season, and they would get wet tonight, he was sure, in more ways than one. He watched a rubber Zodiac skiff lowered over the side of the larger boat, waited until it was stable, then scampered down a cargo net into it. He turned, took a duffel bag from the man above him, set it on the deck, then began helping the others. The last of the 4 slipped coming down, bouncing off the rubber side and falling backwards toward the hull of the mother ship. He let out a scream, the sound cut short when his body went beneath the water. Kamel scrambled to the stern, holding the skiff away from the larger boat to prevent his man from being smashed between the two in the light chop of waves. He shouted, "Agam! Randeep! Grab him!" The 2 others in the boat leaned over and snatched the man by his arm and clothes, hoisting him over the gunwale. The man sat up, and Kamel saw it was Manjit, his second in command, and the one who was to guide the skiff to their target. With a sheepish smile, Manjit shook his head, throwing water like a dog coming out of a lake. He said, "That's not a good beginning." Kamel looked up at the larger boat and saw the man they only knew as Mr. Chin staring back at him. Mr. Chin raised his fist with a thumbs up, the gesture a question. Kamel said, "Manjit, start the outboard." Manjit scrambled to the back, pulled a cord, and the little motor sputtered to life. Satisfied, Kamel returned the thumbs up. Mr. Chin shouted, "See you in an hour. Remember, he either comes out alive or you kill him yourself. Leave no one to talk if the mission fails." Kamel nodded, a little disgusted. He didn't fully understand who Mr. Chin represented, but he knew the reason behind the order. China could not be implicated in interfering in India's affairs. Kamel turned to Manjit and said, "Let's go." Within seconds, they were bouncing across the soft waves, the lights of the shore growing larger, the mothership lost in the darkness. He felt the wind tussling his hair and realized it was the first time he'd had that sensation since he was a little boy. Like the men in the boat with him, Kamel was a Sikh, and as such, was required by his religious duty to wear a dastar covering his head whenever he was outdoors, only unwrapping the cloth when inside his home.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?